the Falcons in 2023, well, let's just say it was another rerun of 2022. It was also a rerun of 2021. It was the same song and dance as their last two seasons. Give their fans fake hope of trying to win the NFC South, only to collapse in that year thanks to head coach Arthur Smith's dumbassery of relying on less talented players. Like, really? You have, the quarterback situation was not great, but you still have these talented players that they can make the most out of, like Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and especially Bijan Robinson, like Jr. And yet you play the lesser talented backups behind them. No wonder they ended the season 7-10 and third place again in the division. You didn't make the playoffs again, and they got their ass handed in the season finale against New Orleans. Clap, clap. So Arthur Smith gets fired in the offseason, and rightfully so. The owner finally had enough of the bullshit, and they bring in Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. So it's a little bit of a different philosophy now. You go from an offensive-minded head coach to a defensive-minded head coach. So it's going to be interesting how that works out for the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, it worked before with Dan Quinn a couple years prior, but now, I mean, things are different philosophy, but we will see. And then the other big major move that the Falcons made was at the game's most important position, the quarterback position. And obviously, they've had a lot of instability at that position since Matt Ryan was traded to the Indianapolis Colts 3 years ago. And now they've decided, okay, enough is enough with Desmond Ridder. Unfortunately, he didn't pan out. And obviously, Taylor Heineke can't be the answer long term. So they decided to go and get free agent quarterback Kirk Cousins. So Kirk Cousins opted out. And then now he's part of the Atlanta Falcons. But the thing is, he's coming off a torn Achilles injuries. And I think the Falcons also got in trouble for tampering with Kirk Cousins' free agent status. Correct me on that if I'm wrong on that. But either way, Kirk Cousins, is now a part of the Minnesota Vikings. And he should elevate this offense a little bit more. Hopefully, that'll be the case. But again, coming off a torn Achilles injury, that'll remain to be seen if he's ready to go come week 1. And they also decided to re-sign Taylor Heineke. And they also traded away Desmond Ridder to the Arizona Cardinals because, well, he was expendable at that point. So if you're the Atlanta Falcons, obviously, now that you have your quarterback, Kirk Cousins, there's only one thing that you could do heading into 2024 and throughout 2024. And that was something that you couldn't do for the last several years, and that was win the NFC South. So that was going to be easier said than done because you have to make some moves. You have to make some moves to get to that point and support your new quarterback in Kirk Cousins. So for the Falcons, they really didn't lose all that much in free agency. Again, traded away Desmond Ridder to the Cardinals. He was expendable. Cordell Patterson, he left to another team, but again, not losing much, even though he was a productive player for the last couple of years. But again, you have new running backs now, more productive running backs now. You got you lost a couple of receivers, like Mac Hollins and Van Jefferson. Not losing much though. You did lose a little bit of a productive player in Calais Campbell to the Miami Dolphins. A weak pass rush, but he was a productive player for them though. So they try to counter some of these losses with the likes of Darnell Mooney from the Bears, Rondale Moore from the Cardinals. So that should help out a little bit with Kirk Cousins. And defensively, they got Antonio Hamilton from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll see if any of those additions help out for Atlanta. And then the draft was a very curious one for Atlanta. A very interesting and very controversial one for them. And, well, let's just talk about the picks after that. So they address some of their needs, and whether it's good or bad, that's up for you to decide because I thought it was okay. It was all right, but nothing special. Like defensive tackle Ruke Orojo from Clemson, edge rusher Braylon Trice from Washington. Maybe those two could help out the very weak pass rushing rotation group that's been a problem for Atlanta these last couple of years. And then again, a linebacker, J.D. Bertrand from Notre Dame. But all that gets put to the wayside because of the dumb dick decision that they did at number 8 overall. Getting Michael Penix Jr. from Washington. When you already signed Kirk Cousins to a big fat contract when he was still recovering from a torn Achilles. I'm like, what? My thought process, and I was talking to my dad about this. I was like, why did they draft Penix when they already had Kirk Cousins? And I get maybe they're trying to build towards the future, or maybe Kirk Cousins is not ready. But is Michael Penix ready? From what I've read little snippets of it, Penix has a little bit of an injury history too, and a little bit of a concerning one too. So it's alarming. It is alarming that the Falcons decided to sign a free agent quarterback that's still okay for that. That still can play. That still can ball out. But then you also draft a quarterback that really wasn't a pressing need right now. What the hell is Arthur Blank doing? Like, I really was baffled by this one. So again, when I look at this offseason for the Falcons heading into 2024, the Falcons should be better with Kirk Cousins, but man, I'm really not sure about that Penix pick. Because again, the quarterback position has been a serious problem ever since Matt Ryan was traded. But yeah, I just don't understand. Again, that Penix pick is just really bugging me. It was a stupid decision. So I know I'm trying not to spend a lot of time on it, but I really hope it pans out for Atlanta in the end. And maybe someone can explain it to me better, like whether it's on YouTube or a social media message, but I'm not seeing it yet. I'm not seeing the benefit quite yet on why they need to draft Penix now, or any quarterback at that matter, when you still have Kirk Cousins right then and there. And you also have Taylor Heineke as a backup too. Make that make sense. So anyway, you also have a pass rushing unit, like going back to them, it's still a middling bunch. And they didn't do a whole lot outside of like Orojo, who was kind of in college, and nabbing Braylon Trice. Braylon Trice seems to be the only decent one. So the Falcons defense, which is back end, is also could be facing personnel issues. This overall unit could once again be an average unit that gives it way too many chunk plays, too much first downs. This whole Falcons team could be in for something, man. So looking at this Falcons team that has an opportunity to try and win the division with a better quarterback, but it's gonna be an interesting one because they got an interesting schedule. When they got a lot of key games like very early on in the season, like a week 3 to 5 gauntlet, actually weeks 2 to 5 against the Philadelphia Eagles on a Monday night, and then they come home for a gauntlet against the Chiefs, the Saints, and the Bucks. Wow. Talk about a woozy. And then you go on the road to take on the Panthers in week 6. Wow. It's like 3 straight division games that the Falcons have to win, like right then and there. Think about that. So when you look at the Falcons overall going into the season, obviously you have to wonder if Kirk Cousins is going to be that guy for Atlanta, especially coming off an Achilles injury. So, I mean, I don't know that. I know I'm doubting it. I know I'm doubting it right now. But again, Kirk Cousins still makes some smart plays, but also Kirk Cousins can make some dumb plays. But in the end, I mean, at least it's better than what we've seen from the likes of Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, Marcus Mariota. Better than those options, I guess. They can do better. They certainly do better with Kirk Cousins than any of those options that I just mentioned. So for the Falcons, despite a bad draft, still had an okay offseason, mainly because of getting Kirk Cousins. And again, should make the team better as long as he's fully recovered from that Achilles tear and can still play, whether or not he is or not, the Falcons are going to have to use any and all resources that can finally get them over that hump, the 7-10 hump, and they can finally stake claim to the NFC South, even if they're going to lose that one playoff game anyway. With this future division and with a better quarterback, they do have a chance, especially with this future division. But if they don't take advantage of that, well, I'm not sure what else they could do.